My guest for the morning, Fred Amankwasafo, is a member of the NPP's communication team. And thanks for joining me, Fred. How was your holiday?
It could have been better.
It could have been better. Well, at least it was good, because we have good, better, best. So that's in the middle. And we also have in the studio George Kuntublankson, former member of parliament for Ekumfis, but that very constituency has now been named as as Infantimanis, now Ekumfi. Okay, so thanks for joining me.
Thank you.
All right. How's your bit to make sure that you get hold on constituency going? Everything is in the hands of the God?
Well, you know, initially when I was ousted from the place, I just stay
out of the scene.
Yes, but no, the people themselves are inviting me to come back. But you know, we have rules that we use to govern our party activities, so the time is not yet.
So you want to stay silent?
No.
All right,
when the
that's
time
good.
Is due,
all right. We know that a certain brouhaha in the NPP. Well, there was initially an acid attack on the chairman of the Upper East region of the party, ultimately leading to his admission into a hospital and subsequently dying some few hours apart. And following that, we've had the flag bearer of the party, Nana Dankwe Kufad, who was on tour in Germany, and subsequently would have gone to the rest of Europe, cutting short that very tour, coming down. And over the weekend, there was the burial on Saturday. And following that, a number of issues have come up by way of disagreements and following comments as well. Just yesterday, we had regional chairman putting together an immediate meeting, so to speak, and well, that resulted, according to what the reports are, Eastern, we also have Central and Volta regions, concluding that they've passed a vote of no confidence in the chairman of the party, Kwala Foko, as well as Akofo Agyepong, who is the general secretary of the party. Well, what does it mean? Do we have precedents? And if we don't have precedent, what do the rules of the party say? And just this morning, some few hours ago, we got some news from our reporters in Tamale that there's been a shooting incident. It happened yesterday night or evening on a group of party supporters who were said to have been in some level of congregation or meeting, and there was a gunfire that was opened on that very meeting crowd by unidentified gunmen. And now we have the Northern Region Police Command trying to have a lead as to how to investigate that very incident and to make sure that matters come to a head as far as the lead is concerned on that very incident. Fred,
thank you very much.
From the incident up to where we are currently. It's a whole catalogue of issues, I believe. It is,
and good morning to our viewers. I am really distraught. First, we can't act like ostriches.
As if there's nothing untoward.
Obviously, there are many issues that could have been handled differently, and to the extent that we've lost Upper East Regional Chairman of the party is a huge blot on the NPP, and I'm not mincing words about that. It's an unfortunate incident, and we would continue to console the bereaved family and the other extended members of the NPP. To me, I think some of these things could have been avoided if sobriety and honest introspection come along, rather than emotional and maybe instant satisfaction by all of us. I would not take myself out of what is going on. I am saddened, I am distraught. I wish that things don't get any bad. What happened yesterday, and I am not a member of any of the regional executive council, and so it's in their purview to take a decision. I wish that we don't go along that. But there are two schools of thought, with strong, give me the word, positions on what is happening, especially after the demise of our Upper East Regional Chair. One group think that Kwala Foko, the national chairman, and Akofo Agyepong should resign or step aside. Another thing that, no, they should remain in office. It's a very tight rope we find ourselves.
It's almost like a three school of thought, because I have heard one school of thought saying they should resign, the other should step aside, and that's not resignation.
Right.
And then the other said no, nothing at all.
Right.
Okay.
Okay. So if step aside, yes. I combine the stepping aside and the resignation.
And you make it two.
But I think yes, stepping aside and resignation, these are two cardinal points that you cannot have both. I wish that, this is my personal view, I stand for correction. I wish that they would, by themselves, through lobbying and appreciating what we have or what we are seeing, they would by themselves step aside, get the processes, so that at least we have space, the party will have enough space to mourn and also decide on what move to come. If after the investigation and everything is settled, there's no culpability on their side, then they can come back. If they resign, per our constitution, they will have to now reapply to enter become members of the party.
They will not resign their membership. They are going to resign their executive position.
Yes, if they resign their executive position, then they have to wait till next 3 years when the next executive election.
Perhaps they may not contest at all.
Or they may not even contest at all. So I would rather wish that they by themselves, not being pushed, they by themselves would step aside, get the processes completed, and then if nothing is found against them, they can then come back and take their position. On the other hand, you are elected to lead people. If any group of them are not too comfortable working with you, then your leadership is not effective, nor efficient. You cannot be effective. You cannot give orders that will be respected. People might not even agree with you on pertinent issues.
Let me get this point.
Yes.
Are you saying, for example, we take nationally, we have at least 50% plus voting for the NDC,
exactly.
John Mahama, and his vice presidential candidate. And so the others who did not vote because they don't like and they're making perhaps governance ungovernable for the government. And so it means the government has to resign.
No, it's the two.
Because
the two are different. The two are different. You see,
or the scenarios and the precipitations are different.
Yeah, they are different. You see, for the national election, and maybe you are a president, you have prosecutorial powers, you have disciplinary powers by yourself. You pick and choose as you will.
So to you, if you're elected, a top elected executive of any political group.
It is not. You see, it is not an executive position where by yourself you can institute and sack
But
people.
there are processes.
The processes are so nebulous. Look, you need 2/3, 3/4 or 2/3 of people to agree on a decision that you will take. And you are being followed up, you are being controlled by so many factors. If you are an executive president, you have the resources of the state.
You have the machinery.
You have the resources of the state behind you, and the law is on your side. Okay, if your signature makes the law. But if you come to political party, people unfortunately attacking Nana Akufo-Addo for what is happening and questioning his leadership. You see, the difference here is that Nana Akufo-Addo is our flag bearer. He's the leader of the party, but he doesn't have disciplinary powers. A leader or a general is as good as his soldiers. Okay,
but
so
he doesn't need to have a disciplinary power.
If you don't have disciplinary power,
he has his word.
If you don't
and
have,
his
your word
is indirectly almost like law.
Your word is not. It cannot be law. People would respect the law.
It may not literally be law, but in many sense, your word is taken to be what it should be.
Yes.
And so,
yes. But if somebody for whatever reason decides to go against your law, what do you do? What can you do? What possibly can you do as a leader of a party? Nothing.
We'll still debate on that. So conclude on this.
My conclusion is that let's have sobriety. Let's have honest introspection in exactly what we want as a political party. We must have a clearly defined objective, and I know we have objective to win the 2016 election. If we have objective, like any institution, we have a common objective, and we need common strategy, without unity, without working together, without understanding, agreeing to disagree, and I pick up my 3 cardinal points again, with respect among ourselves, with circumspection, and with decorum dealing with ourselves, it will be very difficult.
Okay, so the scenario you're painting is like in Formula One. You have a very, very good driver,
yeah,
but your car is not good enough. So even though you are leading the polls to win the race, you don't have a very good car. So you need to have your car in good shape. That's what you're saying.
The system must be coherent. The system must.
Your observations, your Kuntu Blanks.
Hey, good morning.
Good morning to you.
And may I use this opportunity to say good morning to cherished viewers out there. By the grace of God, this morning has been opening up a day for us, and we must be glad and rejoice in it, as declared by the Holy Book. This morning issue on this table must be tackled with consistency and truthfulness. You know, what is happening in NPP now date back to the formative stage of the party. You know, we can consider this as, in my opinion, as a payback time for the NPP, in the sense that the Holy Book tells us that what you sow is what you reap. Anything done without truth ends up in confusion. One, you know, when you listen to the operatives of NPP, for that matter, the chairman, Akofo, which I listened before the demise of Mahama, he depicted a picture that there was a strained relationship between him and the regional chairman. That aside, when I listened to Nana Ohininto cataloging an event which happened between him and the general secretary this morning on Addo FM, saying that there was a friction leading to the visit of the regional chairman, the national chairman, and he, the general secretary, to Upper East. He was instructed by the national chairman to call the regional chairman, inform him that they are coming there for a visit, so a program should be outlined for them. Then, Blessed memory, late Mahama, told me, oh, General Secretary, I'm in Accra. Then come over to my office, then we'll discuss it. Respectfully, the gentleman obliged and he went to...
That's the
chairman, the late yes. Chairman. Went to the General Secretary's office. Then he told me, oh, this is what the chairman is saying. He said, until I hear from the chairman, I will not take what you are telling me. So, as a human being, analyze it as a citizen.
But why should you necessarily hear from the chairman before you know?
No, good.
No, we've had all these incidents played out in the media. So
good. So, then you could see that there is something going on which was not checked. There is no cause without effect. If they, as a party, they would have sat down to ameliorate all this problem, we would have seen what happened.
So you're saying from the time that they did the elections in Tamale and the disagreements that characterized perhaps even the electioneering process.
That is it. So that's
and then thereafter, the difficulties that they faced, the party headquarters being invaded by some attacks.
That is what I'm saying. It's a payback time. You see, when you are doing something without forgiving spirit, it will end up in confusion. The party is not a company. It's an association
of people.
Coming together.
Common objective.
Common objective with their own volition, with their own goodwill. So they are treating them like school children, headmaster and master.
Okay, let me ask you this. As somebody who has had enormous experience in political party activity, who do you think, going by what Fred Amankwasafo is saying, should be taking the lead in making sure that where all those disunity and the concerns being raised by even the normal critics out there and the rank and file of the party is resolved? Who needs to take the lead?
The chairman
Well, the chairman, according to what Fred says, doesn't have the embodiment of supporter base as far as the top leadership of the party is concerned.
You see, let me tell you.
And not only saying what Fred says, but what we've seen, it's not only about what you do at the headquarters, it's also having the support from the leadership in the regions and down to the various sections up to the constituency level.
You know, we have constitution that governs every political setup. And in the general spectrum of operation of party, that is why they say the party is what? Supreme. So when the party is supreme, the party comes together, embodiment of the chairman, the general secretary, the organizer. It's a teamwork. They work in tandem, but there is a shepherd. The shepherd is the chairman that brings all the people together for the flag bearer to move. If the chairman cannot bring the people together, then where lies the movement of the party? So it's not out of question when the people are saying that the chairman should step down. Because if the center cannot hold, things fall apart. Because the chairman holds the center. He has day-to-day running activity of the party. And whatever decision the embodiment of executive takes, then general secretary operates with it. General secretary has no control over the party. He is somebody who must be directed. Do this. He has to do. Come back and report.
Do you think it is fair that the excessive pressure coming from not necessarily the rank and file, but the top leadership of the party, sections of the top leadership of the party, now the chairman and the general secretary should perhaps step aside, not necessarily resign, so that the concerns being raised following the death of the regional chairman could be adequately investigated?
Yeah,
is it because it's a precedent in Ghana? It hasn't happened before that party chairman has decided to step aside for investigations.
There is always a first time. That is why in law they have a case study. We use whatever has happened as a case study to manage the situation, that the situation should not occur again. So there is always a first time. You understand? You see, we are not upholding the truth as political parties. All our activities, most often than not, based on chronism. This is my guy I came with. Master, when you use that system to operate in any political party, it will fail. Because it's an organization of interest, one accordness.
But in our system, if you don't have a godfather, you don't progress politically.
Look, always have a godfather.
Because if I want to be a member of the NPP or the NDC, the CPP, the PNC or whatever political party, I need to have a godfather in the party. Listen, I mean, that's a reality of the time.
I told you that there is always a first time, and I'll prove to you. That perpetuation of godfather will never last. You understand? Okay. The one you have behind you in all time, in all aspects, is Jehovah God.
Well, Fred, you have contested for a national executive position before, so you know how to interact with the rank and file. What has been the observation of the rank and file? What has been the observation of the grassroots people? What are their concerns? What do they want?
The grassroots wants the party to win 2016, and that is non-negotiable. And the processes that would help us win 2016 is most important. My brother George would now go on the tangent and pontificate, and I will not begrudge him. But specifically, there's only one objective across the country. As I was going around campaigning to be elected as the national vice chairman of the party, and that everybody, whoever wins, we must all support and make sure that the party wins 2016. Because, you see, a chain is as strong as its weakest link. And so, if we're not able to work together, then we are gradually shooting ourselves in the foot and jeopardizing our chances for winning 2016 election. I would not want to concentrate too much about what others say. What is important is that we have to find that fine line and make sure that we work together. Where we are at a crossroads. Today, because of the demise of our Upper East Regional Chairman, the scenario is changed. We can't even concern ourselves with what happened prior to the election, prior to the election of our national executives. Everything is now changed. And obviously, accusing fingers are being pointed at one group or the other, one person or the other. And that is even muddying the waters the more. For us, to be able to win 2016 includes that we don't sell our story too quickly to the media.
Well, it's because the stories are so difficult to keep inside.
No, you can manage it. Sometimes we blare out too quickly. This issue happened a week ago or so, and a lot of things had happened within the week. I think that when emotions take the center stage in any establishment, decisions should not be taken. We should wait, we should pause, we should study the system for a while, give ourselves some timeline, because time heals wounds sometimes. Let the pain subside, and after that, let's sit down on a round table and see the way forward. What is in our interest collectively as a party, not individual and personal aggrandizement. What would be the motive for anybody's action? Should be one, the interest of the party. It should be paramount, and that is what the party constitution says. If you say anything that sought to denigrate or to drag the name of the party into disrepute, you have committed you've made a mistake against the party, and that can be disciplinary action. But unfortunately, we know, we are all aware. We all go out there and attack each other. That is not helping the cause of the party. We might be helping individuals, or we might gain some momentary gratification by that. But then, what will be the essence if we meet our momentary gratification and miss the most important reason why we even come together as a political party? The most important, it's a voluntary organization.
Well, good point you've made there.
Yeah.
Now, what steps need to be taken? I'm sure now the flag bearer is worried about what's happening, because he wants things to settle down. But who makes sure things settle down? Now we're hearing the party chairman needs to step aside, the general secretary also. So who needs to make sure the center holds?
All of us. Nana Akofo Addo
who takes the lead? That's the whole point I've been asking for the last 30 minutes.
Nana Akofo Addo is our leader. He takes the lead, and he's always taking the lead. But like I said before, a general is as good as his lieutenants. If the people working with him, for him, if all of us will not listen to what he says, after returning from Europe, cutting short his trip, returning to Europe, the first statement he said was that let's all have cool heads, let's all be circumspect in what we say, let's wait until the investigation.
So it means that as a party you don't listen to your leader? Is that what you're saying?
Some people, yes,
You're saying the majority of the leadership don't listen to you?
No, we don't need majority. Majority listens to him. But, some few people...
in key positions?
Probably. Or maybe even not in key position, in positions of influence. Make statement that sort to downplay what Nana Akofo Addo himself has said. He said we should be careful what we say. We should wait. We should not attack each other. And he's not pushing anybody to do anything. I am here speaking. I don't remember the last time I spoke with him. But at least I will read his statement and go along that line. I wish that majority of us would do same. But for now, we should blame ourselves, because it's a corporate institution, and all of us collectively, we are responsible for what has happened in this party. And so all of us, we should be responsible to help resolve the issue. Our political adversaries and opponents would try and feed into it. Probably. So
far, they've expressed sympathies following the death of the gentleman. So far, I think that the NDC and the other parties have been very calm. They've not tried to make a lot of political capital.
Yeah, probably not in the media space.
But because perhaps maybe the time is not right. You can't just the mood is gloomy.
We have 18 months to an election, a major election at that. And the last we want is to have somebody.
I'll come to the point of futuristically looking ahead, medium to long term. How you think this can also influence your performance in the next election if you don't resolve it. Now, yesterday, we had the party chairman were told, this had been speculated before the beginning of the weekend, that they will be meeting, etc. And following that, well, they met and were told that 3 regions at least passed a vote of no confidence on in the 2 executives. We've had Addo's office come to deny a number of issues yesterday evening, saying that he didn't know about blah, 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 the meeting, even though he had been told about it, but he didn't know the decision that was taken was devoid of his involvement, etc. Do you think that's a step that needs to be taken, that we have, well, a vote of no confidence passed on an elected executive, 2 of them actually, or you think that the decision should have been taken by themselves?
You know, to start with, you know, like the gentleman was saying that the issue...
Fred, it's called Fred.
Fred, yeah.
Fred was saying.
Fred
will be fine, just Fred will be
Fred, as he said, the issue, like earlier on I said, that were created by they themselves.
Well, we do understand that point, yes. But now we've come to the point where issues are happening.
I'm coming. You see, with the issue you are asking me now, the NPP has a constitution. And at the same time, you cannot do anything in the party without recourse to the law that governs your party. I'm asking, what they did, is it in line with their constitution? You see, as much as we are trying to bring sanity, we should try to, or as much as we are trying to protect the people, we must also obey the laws.
Do what is right.
That is it. So that in the end, we will not create more problem for the country. Because look at it. Whatever happened in MPP happened in NDC. Somebody may say no, but I'm saying that now that is happening, it's affecting NDC. They came out with a statement. That time they sat down to come with a press statement, they could have used that time for something else. You understand? So there's nothing that affects a citizen of Ghana, do not affect any of us. And with, like he said, Fred said, with regards to, you say that people may use, he was saying that they will use it as a campaign messages or going around.
You make political capital out of it.
It's only, excuse my language, somebody who is insane will use this one as a political tool, language.
Yeah, sure.
I'm telling you, because whatever happened, you see, it's not a pleasant thing, and we should condemn it in all entirety, because we were here, somebody shot a DCE because he wanted to be a DCE. In Volta region. It's not this year that happened. So are we going to encourage those things? So we stand on platform and you say, look, when you want to harness power, talk about issues, and the people will make the difference. Finish.
Now what does your party's constitution say about passing a vote of no confidence? I'm sure what you did was in line with what your constitution says.
Yes, 2/3 of the those who voted at the National Delegate Congress would have to pass a vote of no confidence before an officer of the party, an elected officer of the party, can be removed. It's a very tall order.
Okay, so
as I learned, they say section 10.
It's a very tall order.
So yesterday, what happened? That was the beginning of the process?
Well, yesterday, what happened, and what I'm getting now, is that the regional chairman met to deliberate on lobbying or appealing to the 2 national executives, the national chairman and the general secretary, to step aside and give the party the space to chart a new course into 2016, especially bordering on the demise of our Upper East Regional chairman. So what happened was not to impeach the 2 national the national chairman and the general secretary. That was not the purpose for the meeting that happened across the country. It is to have a common voice to appeal to them to step aside.
Well, that's not what we got.
Well,
a vote of no confidence, we're told, was passed. What does it mean?
I am telling you.
You're a party member.
I am telling you that what happened was not to.
If you were successful, you would have been the top executive. That's what I'm asking you. What does it mean?
That's what I'm telling you. I wasn't part of the various.
I do understand. Now we have reported outcome. For example,
there are a lot of reports that come out that
I can tell you quotes.
Yeah.
And also voice inserts. We have with the party chairman of the Ashanti region. They are their meeting was inconclusive.
That's it.
But he gave insights to the media that gave indications that, well, they needed to step aside or resign, depends on how you want to say, and that a vote of no confidence was in the offing.
My brother, there are two schools of thought. You said three, and I agree with you. One is to step aside. One is to be pushed away, resign, or impeached, or vote of no confidence. What is the finality of a vote of no confidence? Is to sack you from your position. Okay? And I'm telling you now that people might have all their reasons. What is really happening is to have a common voice to be able to lobby the two national executives to stand.
That's not what happened yesterday.
Oh my goodness! I am telling you now that is what happened. If anybody could interpret
so the actions they took was to put pressure on the two.
Well, pressure is a.
That's almost like a blackmail. If you're taking that decision, why don't you take that decision?
If you are lobbying, you use all sorts of tools. I would want to use asking them, lobbying them, appealing to them to step aside. If you want to say being pushed away or being a vote of no confidence and all those things are pointers that give one objective, so that the two gentlemen are not in a position of authority where they will give instructions that may not be followed by the other members of the party hierarchy. And that is where I am coming from. If anybody has another impression, that's fine. I don't have any communique that tells me that regional executives are having a vote of no confidence in our leaders.
So you're saying what happened was illegal?
You don't give me that word. I'm not
because we have reports and we have confirmation. So I'm wondering why you're trying to shy away from it. I know you're trying to be diplomatic about it because you're a communication
it's not a matter of
member of the NPP. I don't understand your plight. You're in a very difficult situation, Fred Amankwasafo. But now, if they don't resolve these difficulties, what does it mean?
You know,
I mean, in the long term, they have 2016 to run, and your government is not doing too well managing the energy crisis. So the opinion polls are not too well for your government too.
You see,
I mean, we have to be realistic.
No. Even the president knows that the energy crisis is an albatross on his neck, and he's doing all within his power.
I asked the question about the implication for the NPP in the long term.
But you added the energy. That is why I'm taking it from the bottom to up. You see, I believe in bottom-up approach because the grassroots that matters.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. You know, let me tell you, it will be in the interest of Chairman Afoko and Akofo Agyepong to step aside. Because one...
You mean they should resign or step aside? What does it mean? Or they should just excuse themselves, recuse themselves for some...
Well, you see, they have a council of elders, and they have another executive council. How many councils do you have?
And depending on where you
have the National Executive Committee, but at the top is the National Council
of Elders.
So in terms of crisis, knowing very well that things are not going the way they wanted, they can decide to step aside for the National Council to take over. Listen, look at what happened in Upper East. They were stopped from going to the funeral.
Were they?
Really?
I thought they said they were not there.
They were stopped.
By who? By who? How
did you get people? They said,
where? Were they stopped at the Tamale airport?
They said who
said?
On there. I heard it on there.
No, you don't take things on there just as fact.
But
okay, they were not present at the funeral. I mean, that was
let me finish. With this information you are having, where did you get it from? Is it not the media?
No, we got it from our own sources.
Your own source. It's a media work you did and you have given to me. So I also had my source from the media. So they were saying that they were stopped for their own interest. Look at what happened in the hospital. The whole vice chairman was stoned.
Yeah.
What do you want? So what are you telling me?
That's also media report.
That is it.
Okay, I get your point.
So let us go according to the law that we set for ourselves, for the interest of democracy, for the mutual understanding, and protection of the national security. They should step aside.
Do I get this understanding? You are saying that they are not popular. As a result of that,
because you
they
give
need to
instruction,
make
they won't take. Who are you going to instruct?
Okay. So what form should it be taken? Supposing, it's a whole supposition. We're just discussing suppositions here. Supposing they have to step aside or resign, what did they do? They write to who?
They write to the national...
The chairman, the elected chairman, has to step aside. It's a very big issue.
It
and then
is.
the general administrator of the party, the general secretary also would have to step aside.
It is, it is.
So what's the procedure? You have it in your constitution like that?
No, we don't have stepping aside in our constitution.
Okay, so what
we don't
happens?
have.
Now you're saying stepping aside and then resignation.
This will be the first time anything like that had happened, and so I would not be able to suggest what form it should take. But however it is, whichever authority, probably the flag bearer, if letters could be written to the flag bearer to say that for what is going on, we want to step aside, and after investigations, we will come back. If the party is ready to receive us. It's a difficult situation we find ourselves, and I said we are on a tightrope. We are in a situation where either the deep blue sea or the devil himself. Whichever way it goes, it depends on how we will be able to manage it and choreograph our attitude, actions and inaction to the wider population in such a way that we will have positive achievements. Otherwise, we have a long way to go.
All right, we have to close gate on this very subject, but on the finder it says palace coup in NPP. I know that you shouldn't involve yourself in coups, but in democracy, for God's sake. What do you say to it?
Well, I don't know what. Well, he put them in quotes, so he could give us. He put them in quotes, so finder could give us why he's saying palace coup. Nobody comes to the media to announce that he's going to have a coup, so I'm not sure that there's any palace coup in NPP. Obviously, there are challenges we're trying to resolve. It will take a while, but we'll get there.
All right, thank you very much. On that very subject, now we have to